Walker Howard transferring home. The Louisiana Ragin Cajuns get their quarterback. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I got to say special thanks to everybody, I guess, apparently, especially Marshall fans, maybe tuning in for the first time, but literally like 100 subscribers in 2 weeks. All right, we had like 12 subscribers in the first 12 days of November, and in the last 2 weeks, almost 100 subscribers, setting records left and right. Really appreciate it. Again, it seems a little outrageous to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but with the way that it's going, it may not be. So really appreciate it. We will talk a little bit about that. I do want to talk about the Sunbelt players in the portal, but news came out. Christian Spears, the Marshall AD, did go on radio today and have an interview. And we'll catch up with Sunbelt Hoops. We just have, well, for lack of a better term, ignored Sunbelt Hoops. So let's catch up with that as well. But the big news on Tuesday was officially, and Kevin Foote, our buddy from the Acadiana Advocate, reporting it first. Not a big surprise. This rumor had been out there, I guess, in Lafayette for more than a couple of months. Certainly hit me more than a couple of weeks ago. But that Walker Howard went to high school there. St. Thomas More, won a couple of state championships, went to LSU and then to Ole Miss. His father is a former STM quarterback and former LSU quarterback, Jamie Howard. He's going to the Cajuns. So with Ben Wooldridge finally out of eligibility and Chandler Fields also moving on, you get Walker Howard. And for those who don't know, Eli Holstein was also at STM, but because he's only a year behind Walker, and I think Walker was starting as a sophomore, winning a state title, and Eli was a freshman, Eli transferred to Zachary, which is on the other side of Baton Rouge and on the way to New Orleans, and has gone on to play college football. Eli went on to Alabama and then Pitt and was having a very good year this year until I think he broke his ankle against Louisville, as it turns out. But that's how good of quarterbacks they have at STM all at the same time. Here's the big question with Walker Howard. We just don't know how good he is. He was 5-star guy. He was a big-time recruit. He was supposed to come in and play, sit 1 year and play. But the problem was, second year was Jaden Daniels winning a Heisman Trophy. And apparently they had a discussion that it was going to be Nussmeier. The discussion was Brian Kelly, I'm sure, was going to be Nussmeier going to eventually get it. And so he ends up at Ole Miss for the last 2 years. So he went to LSU 1 year, and Jay Daniels came in, and he was the guy, so he wasn't going to lose his job, which obviously worked out for everybody involved. And then Doug Nussmeier was going to get the gig after that. So he's been in college 3 years. He has not played a lot. I can't say this has national championship written all over it, but it has a lot of Joe Burrow-esque written all over it without the idea of going home. I guess this would be the opposite of that. Whereas Joe Burrow came to LSU, he was at Ohio State. But he hadn't played, right? Like Joe Burrow was pretty good. Joe Burrow was like a 3-star quarterback. I think he got the 4th star when he landed at Ohio State. He was not highly recruited at the time. In fact, he was sending out his tapes. He couldn't get recruited, and he sat on the bench for Ohio State for 3 years, and then we know the rest of the story. Walker Howard just has not played a lot of college football. We did see Daniel Beal. It wasn't pretty. All right. That's not really fair. I'm the first to admit that. Someone said today that they're expecting Ben Wooldridge to play. Cajuns in the bowl game. Cajuns don't have a lot of guys in the transfer portal, but you got 3 big ones. Draylen Washington, Terrence Carter, and Harvey Broussard. All right, those are three big offensive weapons. I mean, Zylan Perry's still there, and Bill Davis is still there, And, Robert Williams is still there, although tweaked a leg or an ankle. In the Sun Belt Championship game, I don't know what his status is going to be. Obviously, he's got a few weeks to get that right, as long as it was just a minor injury. But those are three big injuries, whether it's Ben Wooldridge or not. And I'm sure we'll find out. I guess Desimo could play, could play strategic, strategy games. Well, we don't know if Ben's going to play. And then all of a sudden he's coming out and, doing the Willis Reed thing and going to play. But I'm sure somewhere along the way, we will find out if he's playing. He basically has to start. I would think he has to start practicing next week. Like, he's got to be healthy this week. He's got to be practicing next week. I don't know. Do you go out and spend Christmas in New Mexico? Are you out there for a week? Or do you go out there, do you do Christmas and, leave Christmas night and spend Thursday and Friday out there and play on Saturday? I don't know how that works with the New Mexico Bowl, but otherwise, the point is, I got off the shocker. I went off on a tangent. The point is that basically, lunch is Winfield is the quarterback. You have Daniel Beal is the quarterback, and you have Walker Howard. So again, I presume he's got to win the job. Jamie Howard claims that he's not getting any NIL money right now. Okay, I don't care if he is. I don't want him to get all of it. Right? The Cajuns need to, pour some around. They didn't lose many last year. They lost a couple of key ones, and they have lost. Right now they got 3 in the portal that are key ones. And from what I'm told, once you go in the portal, you're not really welcome back there. It's not a let me check things out and I can come back type of deal. And you want to go in the portal, you're welcome to go in the portal, but you got to move on. All right. Again, we'll see if those rules change. Rules are meant to be broken. We'll see if there's exceptions based on those guys, because those guys are really talented. And again, I'm sure they knew, who might be the quarterback, right? 2 of those guys were leaving. I don't know why 2 of the guys that were leaving. Maybe they think they can get some money. Here's the thing about the Cajuns, and it's the good and the bad, right? There's not anybody with a lot of huge receiving numbers on that team because they do a good job of spreading it around. So, Terrence Carter's got a lot of potential. I think he led the squad in receptions. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that somewhere else. Harvey Broussard is incredibly talented, but there's a lot of, him and, Jacob Bernard and Robert Williams and Terrence Carter. There's a lot of guys on that team that are really talented. And that's why the Cajuns offense is so difficult to defend, is because I can hand it off to 1 or 3 guys, although, only one at a time. But I got a tight end and 2 or 3 receivers and maybe 2 tight ends that I can throw to. And, who can you double and who can you not? So the Cajuns do a great job of spreading it out to not focus on one guy. And we'll see where those guys end up. Wishing them the best. But it'll be interesting to see if Walker Howard comes in here. And, right now, on paper, we think he'd be the second best quarterback. I guess it depends what Gio Lopez does. Because I'm putting Jalen Rayner up there, number 1. Gio Lopez comes back. He'd be number 2. We don't know the Texas State situation. RJ Martinez is going into the portal. They thought he was going to be the first freshman that GJ Kinney groomed instead of a transfer. No Troy, although Caldwell is pretty good. So we'll have to think about that. Yeah. Walker Howard would probably be second or third, at least on paper. But again, we don't know because he hasn't done anything for 3 years. And so I compare that to Joe Burrow because Burrow hadn't played for 3 years. And he's like, hey, guys, it took, and you only get 1 game a week, right? It's not baseball where I can get my timing down and fight through it for 2 weeks, take a couple of days off and go at it another 2 weeks. It's football. I get one game a week, and then I got to make those adjustments, and then I get another game. And so we'll see how Walker Howard does it. So it's huge news for the Cajuns, no doubt about it. It's a huge story locally. It's a big story nationally. I mean, as of right now, you may have gotten the best quarterback in the portal. All right. Although there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the portal. All right, let's take a time out. I do want to go over some of the Sunbelt players in the portal. We did the Cajuns. Coastal's got a lot of guys. Georgia Southern doesn't have anybody. Georgia Southern's got like 3 guys in the portal. App State's got a bunch of guys. Texas State's got a handful of guys. So there are some people going into the portal. You guys are going to know who the important ones are. I do also want to go over this Christian Spears interview that he talked about with, think WV West Virginia Metro News. I'll look up that in a second. That he talked about what was going on with Charles Huff. So we got one side of the story. We'll see if we ever get the other side. And then we'll catch up with Sunbelt Hoops. All right, we will do that right after I tell you about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your team every day. I want to make sure I get this right. So earlier on Tuesday, they did Christian Spears, the Marshall AD, if I can find my own thing here. The Marshall AD went on what I'm looking for. Yes, West Virginia Metro News, and talked about what happened with Charles Huff. And a couple of things were going on. And this can't be a surprise to anybody, right? When you're a G5 coach, you're going to interview with other schools. That's going to happen. All right. I don't think we can be surprised. Apparently, they had agreed not to interview during this season, which is nice in theory. But if I don't have a contract at the end of 24, what are we doing? All right. So that's nice in theory for Christian Spears to say, but he went and did it. Christian Spears also mentioned that everybody was very transparent. There was nothing going behind the back. All right. That either his agents or in this case, Southern Miss, there was nothing apparently from what I took from Christian Spears was being sneaky about it. All right. He did say though, that following 22, an extension was offered to Charles Huff that had all the money guaranteed. But if he left, he had to pay some of it back. And Charles didn't like that, apparently. And so there was a buyout. If you leave, there's a buyout. I don't know how much that buyout would be, but usually, the school who wants you is paying that, is the idea, right? Or at least some of it, if not all of it. And apparently that was the hang-up. So there wasn't extended. There was an offer made following the 22 season. The 23 season, they finished 6-7. So there was no offer. And they just went into this season. And you can listen to it. I put it on my Twitter profile at SchultzyCast. A fascinating interview with WV Metro News. All right, at WV Metro News. So I thought it sounded like Christian Spears was very forthcoming. It'll be interesting to see if we ever get the Charles Huff point of view from it. There was some interesting points he made about how to go about dealing with the media and being in the community. And there are a lot of, comments made. Certainly I wouldn't know anything about, how he was dealing with the media or the community or the fans. I know, some of the fans went after the QB a couple of years ago, who won a bunch of games in a row and then came back and struggled, won a bowl game and then struggled. And the fans, let him have it. And then Charles Huff let the fans have it. And obviously that didn't go over very well at all. So, there are mixed feelings about him leaving. Again, it all feels like everybody's happy. All right. Tony Gibson is in Huntington, and Charles Huff is in Hattiesburg. So I don't know who is not happy with that, the way it turned out. It feels like everybody is. And outside of a bunch of subscribers and a bunch of views, we move on. Again, I have put out to all three of the new coaches, Tony Gibson at Marshall, Charles Huff at Southern Miss, and Dowell Loggins at App State. All three have been requested. Two of the three have gotten back to me thus far. And again, people are busy, and I was interested to know, and we'll see how many people watch this. So Jeremy McClain went to go pick up Charles Huff. Was that in Lafayette or was that in Huntington? I'm just out of curiosity. Did Charles go back with the team? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I was trying to figure it out, but it was a very short snippet that they put out there. Excuse me. So I don't know. All right. Let's check out some of these things. This is not the easiest thing to navigate. I could have a bunch of tabs open, but that wouldn't be much easier to navigate either. And so Texas State, we're talking portal guys. Again, about 9 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. I think, did I see Kev Giardello is keeping a running tab. Ben Bell, defensive end, who was supposed to redshirt for the year and come back, apparently is not. He's in the transfer portal. Kev's got a running tab on who is there. He got a couple of QBs leaving. RJ Martinez, PJ Hatter, cornerback Josh Eaton, AJ Edwards, defensive back Alex Harkey, right tackle. Ishmael Mahdi is I wonder what that is. Did he split too much time? And you got the defensive lineman Dominique Radcliffe and the edge rusher Ben Bell. So the one there that hits me is Ishmael Mahdi. That's hopefully he can go get some NIL money. I'm not sure what's happening with that one. I am interested though in the Georgia Southern one right now, according to 24/7, and we'll take that with a grain of salt because 24/7, when you list it, still has Idaho and New Mexico in Mexico State in the Sun Belt. So take it with a grain of salt. Georgia Southern's only got 3 guys in the transfer portal right now. Geez. Oh, sorry, that's my iPhone. I don't know what's going on there. So, okay. So Dexter Williams went in there. We knew that. DeAndre Morris, safety, is in, and DeAndre Buchanan is in. So that's the only 3. So Georgia Southern doesn't have many at all. And then did Georgia State put in a bunch? Let me see. Teddy Hurst is coming back, by the way. Yeah, Georgia State's got a bunch in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's a lot. Coastal had like 21. Southern Miss is going to have a bunch. I don't think South Alabama had that many. South Alabama's only got 2 right now. Fluff Bothwell is a tough one to swallow. and Jordan Scruggs. Interesting the way coaches are taking their I saw this from Ken Dillingham from Arizona State. No, get in the portal now. All right. And I think Major Applewhite said the same thing. Get in the portal now. You got to get in the portal now. And if you want to play in the bowl game, practice with us, and we'll help you with the portal. All right. It's not about next year. It's about right now. And Kenny Dillingham was saying, you're going to hurt yourself if you don't go in the portal now and go on this run with us, because by the time the national championship game is over, the portal is going to be closed or close to it. So you got to get in now, and we'll help you with it. All right. If you want to leave. South Alabama's playing a bowl game this Saturday. So that's a totally different story. But even Major Applewhite was like, if you want to go in the portal, go in the portal. But you don't have to go visit anywhere yet, right? Practice with us. We're done Saturday. So you're welcome to go in the portal, but play. And it feels like that's what a lot of coaches are doing now. That will help you. But if you're going to go off and be in the portal, we'll play somebody else. You're not playing in the bowl game. So, and a lot of guys don't want to play in the bowl game anyways. Arkansas State doesn't have a lot of guys in the portal. They got a total of 5. Jaden Jones, defensive lineman, highly rated. Miller McCumbry, Reginald Harden Jr., Timmy McLean, and Jordan Burris. Timmy McLean, quarterback, obviously stuck behind Jalen Rayner for what would probably be a couple of years. So a lot of guys in the portal. And again, the big news is, Walker Howard is coming back home to play for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. And we'll see what that means going forward. Again, the Cajuns didn't lose a lot of guys last year. Right now, they got 5 guys in the portal. 3 of them are pretty big ones, though. That's the only thing. All right, let's take a timeout. Let's talk some Sun Belt hoops. Arkansas State had a huge upset of Memphis a couple of nights ago. Let's catch up. Let's look at the standings. Let's see what's going on. There are a couple of games that are going on last night. And so we will check them out right after I tell you about Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. omahasteaks.com, and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. Now I'm hungry. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's catch up with the hoops. So these games are ongoing on a Tuesday night. Houston running away from Troy 33-11. Houston, a top 20 team. Troy 5-3 on the season. And Tulane, Ron Hunter, by the way, taking it to Southern Miss right now, 23-14. Houston's leading Troy 33-11 at half. Ouch. And Tulane leading Southern Miss 23-14 in just over halfway through the first half. Let's see if we got standings. Again, I don't know what is going on at all. Although, again, Arkansas State did beat Memphis. That's a huge win for Arkansas State. With all the football that's been going on and work, we've bbeen concentrating on that. So, all right, in the Sun Belt, obviously no games have started, although that's coming up quickly. Arkansas State 7-3, 5-0 at home. Texas State's all of a sudden won 5 in a row. They're 7-3. App State 6-3. South Alabama 6-3. They've won a couple in a row. Troy is 5-3. Georgia Southern 6-4. James Madison 6-4. Marshall 5-4. Southern Miss 4-4. Coastal 4-5. Georgia State 4-5. Old Dominion 3-7. Monroe 3-7, and the Cajuns are 1-8. Now the Cajuns are getting a couple players back, but yeesh, they haven't won one since Texas Dallas. They're playing a Southeastern tonight at home. Oh my God, they have a huge homestand and they haven't won a game. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 11 of their first 13 games are at home, and so far they are 1-8. And oddly enough, they're getting App State in next Thursday. Is that right? App State is coming in next Wednesday, the 18th, for the Sunbelt opener. But then on the 22nd, in comes Will Wade and McNeese. Now, the Cajuns should have won that ball game last year, and they did not. Great crowd in Lake Charles. The referees kind of evened things up with a unnecessary technical, I think on Contingay. Shouldn't have gotten a technical. Probably shouldn't have done what he did, which I think he just waved his finger, which was ridiculous. But they had given McNeese a tackle. A little bit of a scrum had broken out. And I think the referees handled that scrum right. But because we looked at the replay and they actually got it right. And then they just evened things out. And, the Cajuns let a lead slip away. And the crowd was really good. We'll see what happens. And I mean, how many games did I say they had? Again, 13 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And they got 12 at home, and they're 1-8. And if they finish 1-12 to start the season, oh man, that's gonna be bad. That's gonna be bad. I don't know what you do. Right? Are you just gonna promote somebody from within? Is that gonna really change anything? That's the only thing. Someone mentioned to me that he thinks it's in the last year of his contract anyways. So might as well finish it up. But, when a couple of guys got hurt and a couple of guys are coming back, although Contingay is not coming back. And so we'll see. We'll see what, let's see if we got some good games this week. We had some good games last night. Southern Miss and Tulane are playing. And again, Houston is playing. Let's see if we got any games against major teams on Wednesday. Not really. And then on Thursday, Arkansas State's playing former Sunbelt foe UT Arlington. Friday, Georgia Southern is at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech is 8-2. Saturday, full slate of ball games. Texas State is at Florida Atlantic. Southern Miss is at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 8-1. And let's see if there's anything on Sunday. Not really. Oh, Arkansas State's playing UAB. Oh. See who else Arkansas State has lost to. That was a big win against Memphis. They lost to Rice and they lost to Hofstra. They slipped by Jackson State. They had not been playing well, to be honest with you. And they got a nice win against Memphis on the road. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. All right, so we'll try to keep up with that. We'll try to keep up with the portal. We're still going to try and get these coaches on. Believe you me, I understand they're busy and it is not quite as easy. I am not as available as I used to be. So as much as I am available to work around their schedule, it's got to work around my schedule too, is the only thing. I am certainly open to do it first thing in the morning. I can take advantage of them being in Central Time. I did get I think I got Brian Vincent at like 7:00 in the morning one time. It may have been even earlier. I got Brian Vincent really early one morning because he was heading off to a meeting. I think I got him at like 7 to 7:30 one time. So I'm but that may have been during spring ball. So So we will try and get all those coaches. All right. All right. Again, thank you so much. Again, we're almost at 1,750 subscribers. We've had like, when I tell you that, like over 1,000 views would have been like a good week, 1,500 views would have been a good week. We've had over 1,500 views. We've had close to 4,000 views in the last 2 days. It's amazing. We have absolutely set a record for the last 2 weeks, and I appreciate it. Again, it just proves that when there is content out there, like what happened at Marshall, like what's going on at Southern Miss, that people are interested in it and trying to present it, and certainly as down the middle as I can. I certainly have opinions on these things. I don't think I shy away from my opinions on them. That is not something I do, but I try to fill in as much as I know, and then people in the comments do a good job of filling me in as well. So I appreciate that so much. Again, thank you, and we will see you again on Thursday. Remember, I am at home this weekend, so I'm heading back to Syracuse to see Mama Schultz, but we will have an episode for the rest of the week, and we'll have an episode on Monday, Tuesday, and I'll do one early on Tuesday, so we'll have one on Wednesday before I fly home Tuesday night. All right. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Thursday.